Okay, so for those of you who are interested, okay, so this is our synthesis and transformations ebook, right? So if you want to clarify any questions with regards to this ebook, you may feel free to WhatsApp the number at the top of our page, right, of this live stream, or you may comment down below and let me know if you want to ask anything. Okay, hi Chilgyu. Hello. Early to the live session. Hi Panda. Hello. Okay, so we are actually looking at synthesis and transformations drills. So we are only solely doing S&T for this live session. And let's take a look at question number 1. Let's look at question number 1. Frank, whose mother, sorry, Frank is a famous badminton player in Singapore. His mother sells chicken rice every morning. So Frank, right, is the main character over here. So whose, we are referring to something belonging to Frank, which is his mother. Right, we use whose to replace his. Okay, so now we have this clue. It's easier for us to do this question over here. So synthesis and transformation actually weighs quite a number. Even though it is only 5 questions in your PSLE paper 2, it holds 2 marks per question. Okay, hello Joy. Frank, whose mother sells chicken rice every morning, is a famous badminton player in Singapore. Okay, yes, that is correct, Joy. Okay, so the correct answer is Frank. Frank, whose mother sells chicken rice every morning, is a famous badminton player in Singapore. Okay, question 2. Jane has a test which begins in half an hour's time. Jane is still in bed. Okay, so now we have a connector but. Okay, so Jane has a test which begins in half an hour's time. Jane is still in bed. This question is more straightforward, right? It just has to show the contrast between the two information that they gave us, which is these 2 sentences that is split into 2. Okay, so let's give some time to do the question for question 2. Jane has a test which begins in half an hour's time, but she is still in bed. Yes, that is correct. Very good, Joy. Okay, means you are understanding how to do the synthesis and transformation questions using different types of connectors. Okay, so Jane has a test which begins in half an hour's time. But we do not repeat the word Jane, right? So we can replace Jane with she is still in bed. Okay, so Jane has a test which begins in half an hour's time, but she is still in bed. Okay, question number 3. Greg was angry with Jonathan. Jonathan broke his favorite toy car when he tripped over it. Okay, 4. 4 usually refers to the reason. Okay, the reason. So after 4, it usually comes with a verb plus ing. Okay, take some time and try answering question number 3. Okay, Greg was angry with Jonathan for tripping over his favorite toy car. This is actually a little tricky, right? So there is tripped, however, he also broke his favorite toy car. Joy, you're missing out one small information in the second sentence over here. Okay, so he actually broke the toy car when he tripped over it. So you want to try again because I think you're missing out on this information over here. Okay, but good attempt. Good attempt. Okay, how about you, Gil? Do you want to try? Okay, so the answer is actually Greg was angry with Jonathan for what? Right? So it's for breaking it instead of tripping over it only, for breaking his favorite toy car. Okay, then we come and put this information in. When he tripped over it. When he tripped over it. Okay, so this is how we answer this kind of question. So after for, we use this verb plus ing over here. Okay, breaking. Okay, moving on to the next question. You must concentrate on the music. You will be able to enjoy it. Okay, unless can be replaced with if you don't. Okay, so if you are unsure of how to use the word unless, you can actually replace it with this word over here if you don't. Okay, so you want to try answering the next question? Unless you concentrate on the music, you will not be able to enjoy it. Yes, okay, this is correct. Okay, so if we apply the context of if you don't, right, so if you don't concentrate, so unless you concentrate on the music, okay, you will not be able to enjoy it. Okay, so this is how we do this question. So if you don't concentrate on the music, you will not be able to enjoy it, right? So you change up the sentence structure with this in case you are confused with how you are supposed to use the word unless. Okay, so let's go on to question number 5. Mr. Yong was very grateful to Sergeant Harry for recovering his stolen car. Mr. Yong gave Sergeant Harry a reward. Okay, to express his gratitude. Now, grateful, right? We have changed this to gratitude. Okay, the noun form of grateful. Okay, so what would the answer be for question number 5? Wow, very fast answer. ProBeast 919. Okay, Mr. Yong gave Sergeant Harry a reward for recovering his stolen car. Okay, that is correct, right? So, to express his gratitude, Mr. Yong gave Sergeant, remember to spell Sergeant correctly, okay, Sergeant Harry a reward for recovering his stolen car. Okay, so this is how it works, right? So to express his gratitude, Mr. Yong gave Sergeant Harry a reward for recovering his stolen car. Okay, so let's go on to the next question. Okay, let's move on to the next question over here. So Jane was trying to get the boy out of the pool. She lost her grip on the boy's hand. Okay, we use when. We use when. Jane lost her grip on the boy's hand when trying to get the boy out of the pool. Okay, yes, I can accept two different answers for this question over here. Right, so one is Jane was trying, oh wait, Jane lost her grip on the boy's hand when she was trying to get him out of the pool. Okay, but I can also accept another variation, which is Jane was trying to get the boy out of the pool when she lost her grip on his hand. Okay, so you can actually insert the when over here as well, when she lost her grip on his hand. Okay, this is also acceptable because it's happening at the time when that was going on. So both of these will be accepted. Okay, moving on to question number 2. People accept the truth of my story. It is unlikely I will come out of hiding. Okay, so looking at question number 2, you can see that if they don't. Okay, unless. Right, so we can replace unless with this variation for us to refer to. Right, if they don't. Unless people accept the truth of my story, I will come out of hiding. Okay, how about, so if people don't accept the truth of my story, I will come out of hiding. Joy, you have to try to think in this way that we replace if they don't, right? So if the people don't accept the truth of my story, I will come out of hiding. Is that correct? Or is there another answer for this question? So I will only come out of hiding if they accept the truth of my story, right? So unless people accept the truth of my story, it is unlikely I will come out of hiding. Yes, that is correct. Okay, Joy. So take note. So if they don't accept the truth of my story, it is unlikely I will come out of hiding, right? Because that makes more sense, right? If people accept the truth of your story, then you will come out of hiding. But if they don't, you will still continue to hide, right? So the correct answer for this question is actually right. Question number 2, the correct answer will be unless people accept the truth of my story, it is unlikely I will come out of hiding. Okay, question number 3. Jenna did well in her English test. Her mother was proud of her. Okay, so Jenna's mother was. So we are trying to use this as the start of the sentence instead of it being a connected sentence, right? So Jenna's mother was proud of who? Right, this her refers to Jenna. Okay, so Jenna's mother was Jenna's mother was proud of Jenna for doing well in her English test. Yes. Okay, so Jenna's mother was proud of Jenna as she did well in her English test. Yes. Actually, for XXXO, your answer is the more appropriate and more suitable for this question compared to Joyce. Okay, I'll explain why in a moment. So let me write down the answer first. So Jenna's mother was proud of Jenna as she did well in her English test. Don't have to repeat Jenna twice. We know it's Jenna. Okay, XXXO. There is one issue though, right? Jenna's mother was proud of her, right? It could mean that if I say proud of her over here, right, the her could refer to someone else, another girl, right? Because we don't know who this her refers to. So actually the correct way would be actually proud of Jenna first. That but we don't need to repeat Jenna over here. Okay? So as she did well in her English test, we do not need to repeat as Jenna did well in her English test. Right? However, we still have to say that she was proud of Jenna because if we write Jenna Jenna's mother was proud of her, that her may refer to another girl. For example, Jenna's mother was proud of um, her friend instead of Jenna, right? So even though Jenna's mother, the keyword is Jenna, we still have to emphasize who we are referring to that she was proud of. Okay, so for this question, it is recommended that you will write Jenna over here, but you do not need to repeat Jenna in these two female reference. In this context, we are referring to Jenna. Why will you call a woman Jenna's mother? Makes sense, XXXO, it makes sense. However, because this is for P6 PSLE, which is why it is still recommended for students to clarify who they are writing and pointing towards, right? So let's go on to the next question over here. Right, my father was caught in the traffic jam. He was late for work yesterday. Okay, so after, we use after for this question over here, right? So we have to identify what happened first and what happened second. Okay, so what is the first event that happened? Okay, so he was caught in traffic jam first, and this happened after, right? So 2 comes after 1. So this is how we will form the sentence structure for synthesis and transformation. You have to identify the event that happened first, then identify the event that happened second. Okay, so if it has the word before, then the context would differ. Okay, however, because they gave you after, we will just use it as 2 and 1. If it's before, it will be 1 and 2. My father was late for work after being caught in a traffic jam. Yes, that is correct, XXXO. Thank you for your answer. Right, so my father was late for work yesterday after being caught in a traffic jam. Okay, make sure we get all the details from the question into the sentence over here. Wow, XXXO is already doing question number 5. Okay, very fast answer. Joy. Okay, Amy rushed out of the library without taking her books. Okay, a very straightforward, short and sweet answer, right? So did not will be replaced by without. So let me just write this really quick. Amy rushed out of the library without taking her books. Okay, without taking her books. Okay, so if there's no problem, let's move on to the next exercise. So going to question number 1. Both students failed their test. Okay, so since this is negative, right? Here is negative, so both is positive. This is negative now, so we have to change fail to a positive form, right? So neither of the students passed their test. Okay, yes. So neither of the students passed. Okay, we change fail to pass their test. Okay, so neither of the students passed their test because we change from both is positive, we change it to negative. Therefore, the answer will also be changed from negative to positive in terms of passing and failing. Okay, so for synthesis and transformation, you have to take note that sometimes you will have to change certain words and context in the sentence that they give you depending on what is provided in the answer. Okay, so let's go to question number 2. The stolen loot. Okay, the stolen loot. Okay, take note of this. We have to take note that stolen loot is singular. Okay, this is one clue I can give you. The stolen loot had been taken as evidence of time by the police. The stolen loot has been taken by the police as evidence of the crime. Okay, so yes, Joy, I believe your evidence of time is supposed to be evidence of the crime, right? However, for XXXO, his answer or her answer is actually more accurate, right? So has been taken is correct. Okay, because this is present, right? Has been taken. Okay, has been taken by the police as evidence of the crime. Okay, so the stolen loot has been taken by the police as evidence of the crime. Okay, but Joy, that's a good attempt, right? Okay, so just take note of this. We have to change this to singular form because the police is plural, therefore they change it. Okay, moving on to question number 3. He was punished severely as he refused to apologize for his offense. Okay, resulted in. This is a cause and effect, right? Okay, so this is the cause and this is the effect. Okay, wow, XXXO, very fast answers. Okay, his refusal to apologize for his offense resulted in his severe punishment. Okay. Should I wait for Joy's answer? Joy, do you want to try answering this question? Okay. So yes, the first half of the sentence, let me write it down first. His refusal. Right, we change refuse, right, to the noun form, which is refusal to apologize for his offense resulted in him being severely punished. Okay, resulted in him being punished severely. Okay, for this case, I think there will be several answers that can be accepted, right? So resulted in him being severely punished is one of the more commonly accepted answers for this question type. Okay, so we usually will still keep punished severely. We just have to change refuse to refusal to apologize. However, for XXXO's answer, resulted in his severe punishment can also be accepted for some of the cases, right? However, usually for P6 students, some of them are unable to change the context or the noun and the tenses to suit this sentence as much. So yes, we will stick to this as the model answer for the P6 students to refer for revision of PSLE. Resulted in a severe punishment if you don't want to repeat his twice. Yes, XXXO. That is also a correct way of forming the sentence. Okay, thank you for the explanation along with your answer. Right, let's go on to the next question over here. Okay, this is another super common question that you can see in exams, prelims, and PSLE. This is direct speech to indirect speech. Right, so we have to look at the keyword did, past tense, last night. Okay, these two are the main things we have to change. So what would the answer be? Mr. Goh asked Jeremy if he revised his work the night before. Okay. How about Joy? Okay. If he had revised his work the previous night. Yes. Okay, in this context, Joy is correct. Why? Because did is in past tense. And this is also past. So in the speech over here, we have to convert it to past perfect tense. So Mr. Goh asked Jeremy if he had revised his work the previous night. Okay, so I have heard that some of the teachers in the schools nowadays, they have changed up the syllabus and they actually want students to write the previous night instead of the night before. But I'm not really sure if it still applies to all the primary schools or only certain schools want to implement this change. So for those students who are curious whether you can use the night before or the previous night, please check with your school teachers for your clarification, right? So if you are confused when you should whether you should use the night before or the previous night, you can check with your school teachers for better clarification, right? Because it will suit along with the MOE context. Okay, so the princess entered the dance hall grandly. Okay, enter grandly. So the princess made a grand entrance into the dance hall. That is correct, right? So we changed the grand entered grandly into a grand entrance because she made a grand entrance. Okay, we change it to a noun form, right? Grand entrance into the dance hall. Okay, the princess made a grand entrance into the dance hall. Okay, very good. Let's go on to the next page over here, right? In spite of. Now, this is a new connector that we have seen from the start of the live session today. So let's try this question together. Okay, so in spite of actually is similar to the word despite. So let's look at the first question. She was ill. She went to school. Usually when you are sick, you do not go to school. So we see a contrast over here. Okay, Susan went to school in spite of being ill. Yes, okay, so that is correct. Susan went to school in spite of being ill. Okay, short and sweet, straightforward answer. Let's go on to question number 2. My brother does not like eating yogurt. My sister does not like eating yogurt either. Okay, this is actually a commonly tested question as well. They want you to combine both into one sentence. Right. However, they give you neither of. So some questions would be giving you neither and nor. However, this question is neither of. Right? So you have to take note of this. It's not neither nor. It is neither and of. Neither of my siblings like eating yogurt. Joy, very, very close. You just have one grammatical error in this question over here. So maybe for the 2 marks, you will be awarded 1 mark instead. Okay, so have to take note that neither of my siblings, yes, okay, likes, right, siblings likes eating yogurt. Okay, so because neither of them, therefore we adopt the singular form for this. Okay, this can apply for your grammar MCQ as well. For those of you in your grammar MCQ segment, whenever you see neither, you focus on the second subject, or else you have to focus on this, right? It will be singular form. Okay, moving on to question number 3. Another direct speech to indirect speech question. Did you witness the accident along this road last night? The police officer asked Jenny. Okay, did last night this road. Hi Chris, can I ask what are the examples that make it a singular verb? Chris, it's quite straightforward. So if you are looking at this question over here, right? If they give you neither my brother, okay, let me write in short form, nor my sister likes eating yogurt. Okay, so for this case, because neither of them, my sister, okay, this is also singular. Therefore, we will use the singular form of likes. However, for in the case of making this my parents, okay, if it's parents, this is plural, and it will be like eating yogurt. Okay, Chris? Other than neither of. Yes, so for neither nor, right? Neither nor, this case, you look at the second subject. So if it's neither my brother nor my parents like eating yogurt. However, if it's neither my parents nor my brother, it will be likes eating yogurt because my brother is singular. So we always follow this subject over here. Why parents like? Because parents is plural. Therefore, like is for plural form. Okay, parents is 2 people. Unless they say it's my parent, right, without the S, that is singular, only one parent, it will still be singular form. Okay, Chris? So let's go on to question number 3. XXXO says, the police officer asked Jenny if she had witnessed the accident along that road the previous night. Yes, that is correct. Okay, thank you for typing out your answer again in case I missed out. Okay, let me just pin this answer over here. So, yes, Joy, sorry I missed out your comment as well. Let me check Joy's answer. The police officer asked Jenny if she had witnessed the accident along that road the previous night. Yes, this is correct. Okay, so the police officer asked Jenny if she had witnessed. Okay, she had witnessed the accident along that road the previous night. Okay, full stop. So just take note of the 3 things that I have circled and make sure you have changed them. Especially if it is in past tense, you have to make sure you write it in past perfect. Okay? Unless the question gave you in present tense, do you know how to go to this place? So for that, we will just change to a simple past tense in the indirect speech. Okay, moving on to the next question over here. Terry had withdrawn from the basketball team. The coach was shocked by. Okay, let's try this question together. Okay, after by usually comes a reason. Okay, XXXO Android. Coach was shocked by Terry's withdrawal from the basketball team. Yes, that is correct. Both of your answers are correct. Okay, let me just pin the answer for now. Let's see. Okay, the coach was shocked by Terry's withdrawal. Okay, we change withdrawn to withdrawal from the basketball team. Okay, very good. So, all of you are really fast. Okay, owing to her blank, Rachel. Okay, Rachel is very persistent. She has made a new swim record in the Youth Olympics. So, owing to her persistence, I like that all of you have changed this to the noun form, persistence. Okay, owing to her persistence, Rachel made. Okay, yes, Rachel has made. Okay, Rachel has made a new swim record in the Youth Olympics. Okay. Wow, XXXO. So many answers. Okay. So you amended it. Has made a new swim record in the Youth Olympics. Yes. Okay. So just to take note that you have to include this as well. Okay. Owing to her persistence, Rachel has made a new swim record in the Youth Olympics. No worries, XXXO. That happens. Very common. Always have typos, especially when commenting. Okay, so let's go on to the next question. Right, question number 1. Oh, it is our favorite question once again. From direct speech to indirect speech. So, did you attend the morning training session yesterday? Father asked. Oh, my father asked. So, my father asked if I had attended the morning training session the previous day. Yes. Wow, Joy, very fast. Right, I barely flashed the question for a while and you already came up with the answer. Yes, that is correct. So my father asked if I had attended the morning training session the previous day. Oh yes, no me, it's redundant. Oh, you are right. You are right. XXXO. Thank you for pointing that out. There is no me. Okay, don't need to say ask me. You can just say ask if I had. I missed out on that. Small bird can use the day before. Oh my goodness, small bird, it's been so long since I've seen you in the live session. Hello, welcome. Okay, can use the day before. That's a very good question. So just now I actually mentioned about this. So for those students who are actually curious whether you can use the day before or the previous day, please check with your school teachers because I've heard that nowadays in primary school MOE teachers, they actually will inform students whether to strictly follow the previous day or the day before only. Because in the past they accept both answers, but now I think they are tightening it to one of them. Okay, so need to check with your own teachers for clarification. Let's go on to the next question over here. All the pupils are expected to submit their travel declaration to their teacher tomorrow. Okay. So for this is not the direct speech to indirect speech, huh? Okay, take note there is no inverted commas over here. You don't need to change to tomorrow. Okay, so every pupil, yes, every pupil. Okay, so remove the S, right? Every pupil, because it's every single pupil. Oops. Okay, every single pupil. So every pupil is expected to submit his travel declaration to his teacher tomorrow. Should be his or her. Yes, because pupil is singular. Yes, XXXO. Thank you for pointing that out. That is correct. Okay, you are right. We have to change the there to his or her because every single pupil, this is actually in singular form. Okay, singular. Okay, therefore you make sure that all your nouns are in the singular form. So we change R to is and there to his or her. Can we change the tomorrow to the next day? Swan, we only change tomorrow to the next day if it is the direct speech question like this. Okay, if you see the two inverted commas, we change the tomorrow to the next day. However, for this question, because there is no dialogue over here, we don't need to change the tomorrow. It's part of the question that they give you the information, you just use it. Okay, so don't be tricked by this as well. Sometimes they like to give you this, then the students like to, oh, I think I have to change this, then they end up getting it wrong because this tomorrow is actually a given information only. It's just for you to copy it down over here. So it's actually quite tricky for some students who overthink their answers. Okay, Swan? Yes, let's go to question number 3. Grandma dislikes Western food. Ali loves it. Okay. Wow. This question is not commonly seen. Okay, is not shared. Wow, XXXO is very fast with the answer. Okay. Ali's love for Western food is not shared by his grandma. Okay, any more answers? Let's see. So, Ali's love for Western food is not shared by grandma. Okay, one question. Why is it not by his grandma? Okay, because we are not sure whether this is Ali's grandma or not. Is it Ali's grandma? Okay, they didn't specify to us. Okay, so I will still use grandma. However, make sure that your grandma is in capital letters because this is how we address it. Sometimes they say, oh, mother loves clothes. Okay, maybe then it doesn't mean that it will be my mother or something. So sometimes when we address it like this, we will have to look at the context of the sentence that they give. Okay, so it will just be by grandma. Grandma could be someone's name. Wow, XXXO. Yeah, you're right. Actually possible, right? If anyone would name their child grandma. Interesting. Yeah, we'll never know. Interesting fact. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe the next generation will start naming their child in special ways. So let's go on to question number 4. Okay, Tom was witty. He was not popular in class. In spite of. Okay, I think they're missing an of. So let's write it down. In spite of his wittiness. Okay. Is there a word like wittiness? Is there wittiness? No such word. So what is the noun form of witty? Okay, what is the noun form of witty? Wit. In spite of his wittiness. Okay. In spite of his wit. Usually witty, we will change it to wit instead of wittiness. However, you can also use in spite of being witty or in spite of his wit. I can accept these two answers. Okay, in spite of being witty or in spite of his wit, Tom was not popular in class. Okay, but some students also like to write in spite of the fact that Tom was witty. Okay, some teachers would accept this answer. Okay, the fact that Tom was witty, okay, then he was not popular in class. So you can just copy this down here. So next question, Tanny was delighted. She had won the first prize in the lucky draw. Okay, much to Tanny's delight, she had won the first prize in the lucky draw. Yes, okay, so that is correct. So much to Tanny's delight, she had won the first prize in the lucky draw. Okay, much to Tanny's delight, she had won the first prize in the lucky draw. Okay, we changed the delighted to delight, the noun form. Okay, moving on to this question over here. Right, I cannot understand what he is saying. He has such a strong accent. Okay, that is impossible. It means that I cannot understand. This will be replaced by this. Okay, he has such a strong accent that it's impossible to understand what he is saying. Yes, that is correct. Okay, so we can just keep this in the front. So he has such a strong accent that it is impossible to understand what he is saying. Yes, okay. His accent is so strong that it's impossible for me to understand what he is saying. Oh, okay, XXXO, I see the variation in the answer over here. His accent is so strong. Okay, makes sense. This is usually maybe for higher ability P6 students, they would actually change the sentence sequence to this. However, for those of you who are unsure of how to do this question, you can keep it to this. Okay, this is also an accepted answer. However, for XXXO, his answer is also more is also accepted in terms for this kind of question. Yeah, it's more specific. So if you want to keep it basic, we can keep it simple. This is the correct and the model answer for P6 students to follow. Okay, let's go on to the next question. John lost his way because the complex network of roads confused him. Okay, confused. Confused is the first word now. Over here, confused is at the back. Okay, confused by the complex network of roads. John lost his way. Okay, right. Any more answers for this question over here? Yes, Joy, that is correct as well. So confused by. Okay. Oh, Joy, it has to be confused by something. Okay, it's not confused of. Okay, when you say, oh, I'm confused of this question, no, I'm confused by the question, right? So confused by the complex network of roads. John lost his way. Okay, so synthesis is actually very tricky in a sense that the 2 marks can cost a lot, right? Even one small mistake just minus 1 mark from your whole answer because of a spelling error or a grammatical error, right? So if your whole sentence structure is wrong, it will cost you the 2 marks. So let's go to the next question. The caretaker locked the door as he thought no one was in the room. Okay, thinking that no one was in the room, the caretaker locked the door. Okay, how about Joy? How about Joy? Let's wait for a moment. XXXO, can I just ask a question? Are you a student that is revising for PSLE, or are you just a person that joined the live session leisurely to recap on some of the English foundations? Same as his or her answer. Okay, Joy. Yes, that is correct. Okay, so thinking that no one was in the room, the caretaker locked the door. Okay, yes, Devya. Yes, that is correct. Apologies if I pronounce your name wrongly. Right, that is correct. So thinking that no one was in the room, the caretaker locked the door. Okay, so let's go to the next question over here. So Grandpa was kind and generous. He inspired me to do volunteer work. Oh, you have a master's degree from NTU. I see. No wonder all your answers are so specific and concise. Okay, but I really appreciate you joining the live and helping to answer and explain some of the questions as well. So yes, Devya, Grandpa's kindness and generosity inspired me to do volunteer work. Okay, how about the rest? Grandpa's kindness and generosity. Yeah, so we have to change this to the noun form, right? So kindness and generosity inspired me to do volunteer work. Okay, so Grandpa's kindness and generosity inspired me to do volunteer work. So this is P6 PSLE Standard English. Yes, Devia, this is for P6 to do revision for that English. Yes, Joy. That's right. So this actually is our product of 1000 synthesis and transformation questions. Even though these questions, some of these may not really appear in PSLE, however, they will appear for top school prelim papers as well. So it's actually good that you practice along with these tricky questions and changing them to the noun form so that you can actually tweak and adapt better for your PSLE papers. Okay, so let's go on to the next question. Perfect. Okay, good. So let's do this together. So the new gardener is pruning the hedge, right? So now the hedge is what? Okay, the hedge is being pruned by the new gardener. Pruned by, okay. The hedge is being pruned by the new gardener. Yes, okay, all of you managed to get this correct. Okay, the hedge is being pruned by the new gardener. Okay, let me write this down. Okay, very good. So most of you are able to understand the concept of synthesis and transformation very well. Right, let's go to the next question over here. Right, last 10 minutes over here. Is prune correct? Okay, why okay, I'm calling this person by the name, okay? I'm not asking a question. So yes, for this question, the H is pruned is incorrect because, right, is pruning, this implies a continuous tense. Okay, so is being pruned will imply it is ongoing. So therefore, we cannot say the hedge is pruned because in that case, the new gardener would have been, it will be a different way. And for that case, is pruned is also wrong because we have to use was pruned instead for simple past tense. Okay, being is the ing, yes, XXXO. So being implies the continuous of this case over here. Pruning is the ing, so you need being, yes. Okay. So yes, moving on to this, unless we change it to if you don't. Okay, to refer easier if you if you're unsure of how to use unless, we always replace it with if you don't. Okay, so unless you practice hard, you will now perform well on Friday night. Okay, yes. You will not perform. Devia, I believe you have a typo, right? Okay, yes. Thank you for correcting it. So, unless you practice hard, okay, you will not perform well on Friday night. Okay, very straightforward. So once we change unless to if you don't, the answer is really easy to derive, right? So it's actually like a math equation. So you just switch it around and you are able to find the correct context to answer the question. Okay, so don't be afraid of these words appearing in your PSLE or your exams, right? You can just easily switch them in with different techniques. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Jacob signed up for the squash tournament. Then he sought his father's permission. This happened first, right? Because the then tells us that this happened second. So before doing this, before 2, 1 happened. Okay, so this is how we write it. So before Jacob signed up for the squash tournament, he sought his father's permission. Are you sure, Joy? Jacob signed up for a squash tournament first. Okay, so before seeking his father's permission, Jacob signed up for the squash tournament. Yes, XXXO, that is correct. Okay. The sequence is very important, yes. Okay, so have to take note, every time you are confused by this kind of questions with before and after, I would want you to write down 1 and 2 for the sequence of events. Okay, this can actually help you in answering the question easier when you are referring or when even double checking your papers. Because I have some students telling me that, oh, after they write the sequence, they actually realize it's much more clearer to them when they are doing the answering the question. Sorry. So yes, so before 2 happened, 1 happened, right? So over here, before Jacob sought his father's permission, he signed up for the squash tournament. Okay, so before Jacob sought his father's permission, he signed up for the squash tournament. Okay, so before 2 happened, 1 actually happened first, which is this event over here. Okay, so hello Malini. Welcome to our live session. Okay, so question number 3. Oh, this is the direct to indirect speech once again. So ran away before I could record his name. Okay. So take note, ran is past tense. So let me see. The prefect say that the boy ran away before she could record his name. Okay, he or she is fine because we don't know whether the prefect is a girl or a boy. So the prefect said that the boy ran away before he or she could record his name. The prefect said that the boy ran away. So far there's a trick in this question over here. What is the trick? Okay, we're looking at the inverted commas, right? The prefect said that the boy had what? What is the past perfect? Okay, it's had run. Okay, not had ran, it's had run away. Yes, okay, XO, that's right. Okay, so the boy had run away before he could, okay, he or she could record his name. The prefect said that the boy fled. Oh no, XO. It's okay, we can just follow this context, okay? Because changing it to flee would actually imply a change of word. So for PSLE context, it's not so let's say complicated. We don't need to change it to fleeing because that is a whole new context. So will the boy had run away before recording his name work? Oh, the prefect said that the boy had run away before recording his name. No, that wouldn't really work, okay? Let's explain why, because before recording his name, it would imply that the boy should be recording his own name, okay? But we are now referring to the prefect recording the boy's name. So if you use that case, it is not really a direct translation of this speech. So that is why when we are changing a direct speech, we have to make sure that all the context still applies in the indirect speech. Okay? Boy had run away before recording his name will imply a different meaning that can be interpreted differently from the readers. Okay, so I hope that is clear for you. Let's go on to the next question over here. Okay, question number 4. Ali is anxious over every small matter, and this causes him to frown all the time. Okay, Ali is anxious over every small matter, and this causes him to frown all the time. Ali's something. So this has to be a noun that belongs to Ali. Why is it not had recorded? I'm confused. Oh, I see. Okay, so sorry, let's go back to this question over here. So the prefect said that the boy had run away. So we are actually focusing on the ran instead of the recording. Okay, could record because this is what happened after, right? So before this could happen, so we can keep this in the simple past tense. Okay, so oh yeah, there's no such word as anxiousness, everyone. Okay, so if you were to change anxious to the noun form, it would be anxiety. There's no word for anxiousness, it will be anxiety. Okay, hold on. So let me think of an explanation for why. Okay, so could record is just past tense. However, could is also expressing possibility in the past. So if we are looking at the tenses in reported speech, could usually stays the same because there is no such thing as had, could, right? It already expresses the past ability. So for this case, we only have to change the ran into had run. Okay, thank you for the question. Let's go on to this. Over here, we have one big trick over here that catches all the P6 students. Even in PSLE, sometimes for generous, some people will still say generousness. There is no such thing as generousness, right? It's generosity. So you have to know the noun form of these words in order for you to answer the questions correctly, right? Sometimes people would say confusedness, right? There is no such thing. It will be confusion or something like that, right? So Ali's anxiety, okay, Ali's anxiety over every small matter caused him to frown all the time. Okay, Ali's anxiety causes him to frown all the time over every small matter. Ali's anxiety over every small matter. Okay, so Ali's anxiety, yes, that is correct because the anxiety is what is in him, right? His anxiety over every small matter causes him to frown all the time. Okay, we keep the tenses for this. Okay, we keep the context. We just don't need the and this causes him. I'm not studying anymore, but this is so fun. Yes, there's a lot of people who have already graduated long ago and they still join the live sessions to maybe just rekindle the memories or trauma that they have experienced in primary school, right? So this is the correct answer. So anxiety over every small, oh my goodness, what is this? Small matter. Small matter causes him to frown all the time. Alice frowns all the time over every. That is slightly incorrect, okay? Because of this apostrophe s. Okay, because of this apostrophe s, right? This means that something will belong to him. But frowning is actually a verb, so we have to use a noun form for that. Will the answer be wrong if it's used backwards? So, do you mean Ali's anxiety causes him to frown all the time over every small matter? The meaning doesn't change. So if the meaning doesn't change, it is likely that it will be accepted. However, you do not need to change the sequence because they actually gave you like this. So you can keep it in this way, right? So it actually depends on how strict your school teacher is or how strict the PSLE marker will be. So usually when the meaning doesn't really change and the tenses, all of those stays the same, I'm sure it can be accepted because it's just another variation of the same sentence. Yeah, okay. Let's go on to our last question for today. Okay, our live session. So doing this, as soon as the boy finished lunch, he started feeling hungry again. Ahaha, this is another new conjunction we have seen. So no sooner had has a what's that called? Has a little buddy. There's one word that always comes after no sooner had. Right? It's a correlative conjunction. No sooner had. No sooner had than. Why it seems like an O-level question? No, maybe it's your memory that is foggy, but PSLE already have this standard of questions, right? So, no sooner had than. Okay, last question, a very tricky question. Okay, no sooner had, this would mean that it replaces as soon as. Okay, suddenly everyone is silent. Or am I missing out the comments? Okay, so let me give you a clue. No sooner had the boy finished lunch then. Okay. Oh, it's filtered. I see. Yeah, papaya. Thank you for telling me. It's challenging, yes. No sooner had the boy finished lunch than he felt hungry. Started feeling hungry again. So we try not to cut the words when they provide it to us, right? So we can just keep it in this sentence format. Okay, then he started feeling hungry again. Okay, why is this so? This question is just testing the students whether they know this correlative conjunction. So a lot of students will actually miss out and they will struggle with this question, so they end up losing the 2 marks over here, right? So this is usually for the ones who actually are more well equipped with the S&T knowledge as well as the conjunctions, right? Which conjunction to use for this question over here. So it's actually quite challenging. But yes, this is actually a possibility that will maybe or maybe not come out in the PSLE exams. We will never know, right? Can I use he then? No. Okay. Usually it will be no sooner had something happen, then he do something or then she did something. Okay. So if you say no sooner had the boy finished lunch, he then started feeling hungry, that then will actually imply this then over here. Okay, but these two are different thens. They have different meaning. Yeah, papaya, do more S&T. Yes, don't worry, there will be a lot of S&T live sessions coming up in May. Okay, so stay tuned, everyone. And this is the last question for the live session for now. Right, stay tuned for our live sessions later on, and I will see you all really soon. Thank you all for joining and answering all the questions and joining the explanations as well. Right, I'm really happy that some of you actually learned something new today. So this is actually our S&T ebook. You are able to see in our link in bio, right? You can actually purchase it in our ebook store over here. For more practice, there are 1,000 of the questions over here. So the more you do, the more you practice, the easier it will get. And soon in PSLE, once you see all the questions, it's an easy 10 marks for you to score. Okay, for AL1 students, all of you who wants to improve on your S&T, this is the best time to do so, right? You still have about 4 months to your PSLE exams, so these 4 months are very crucial for your preparations, and all the best, everyone. Okay, see you soon. No, remember to follow us so that you are able to join our live sessions anytime we go live. You can get a notification. Okay, I hope something you can take away something from the live today, a new maybe a new English knowledge, even for those who have graduated. Right, it's still fun to do English sometimes because this is a language that we continuously upgrade ourselves in, keep learning. So yes, bye bye everyone, and see you.